Alright, I just went through a pretty long process of trying to pick up my Bronco Sport Badlands, but I now am taking her on a maiden voyage here, just trying to get a sense of how she drives. The experience at the dealership was really quite interesting. I had, a sort of mixed experience. Some of it was stuff that I really had to dig into with the finance manager, and I think what it comes down to is really understanding what you're buying versus what you're expected to pay for versus what you're going to get is really interesting. So for the dealership that I went to, they've installed a pulse brake system, which is a feature that they do try to charge for, and but it's just something they do of their own accord. Now, I had an issue with that because it wasn't necessarily something that I had requested. And to follow that up, I would say that just make sure if you're paying for these additional features that they actually are included on your particular vehicle. Not only was there the pulse brake system, but there was also the security etching fee, which, once again, I didn't ask for it as the consumer, so, I asked them, did I really ultimately have to pay for that? And, they said no, they would go ahead and waive that. So some other things that were quite interesting, I noticed that the admin fee was a little bit high. It was $6.99, and, I wasn't necessarily on board with that. So aside from the pulse braking system and the security etching, those are things that I didn't want to ultimately pay for. And in addition to that, there was also the sort of gap insurance. And this was actually an interesting topic because, they don't want you to leave the dealership without paying for either the pulse or the security etching. And, I pushed them for those things to be removed. And in order to kind of meet them halfway, I was offered to supplement the gap insurance for the pulse brake system, which, for me, I had already spoken to my insurance company, had already made the decision I wasn't going to pay gap insurance, but ultimately, if it's, they'll make a little bit of money, I'll have some additional protection. So I felt like, well, you know what, that is something that I could be willing to compromise on. And I didn't ultimately have the pulse system installed on my vehicle. So, for not having to sit there and really argue heavily over trying to have these additional accessories on the vehicle, it was a decent compromise for me. So, a very, very interesting experience. And, once again, having to buy a car once every 12 years, I was naive as to a lot of what was expected as far as what's going to be included. And I guess at the end of the day, make sure to read thoroughly your paperwork. There were a couple things I did not actually sign, and those were sort of the requirement for me to mitigate instead of litigate. So basically, I would give away my right to sue the dealership for whatever reason. But then the second one was giving the dealership the right to give over my information to third-party collections agencies. And if I don't have to sign that, I'm not going to sign it. And so I went ahead and declined it, and everything went through just fine. So, I'm sure there's probably some additional stuff that was there that I signed that I maybe didn't have to, or there might have been some other things that I missed. But certainly for me, going through this experience was pretty eye-opening. Biggest takeaway is make sure that you read your paperwork, make sure you understand what you're getting into, and go through whenever if they have to reprint out the main sort of bill of sale or whatever it is, read it twice, because we did mine 4 times, and there were a couple items that got missed or accidentally added. Just trying to make sure that everything's done the correct way. So overall, very, very, very happy with the product that I have currently. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to these videos. If you like this one, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, and you can subscribe and do the notifications if you wish. And stay tuned. I'm sure I'm going to have some other videos for Bronco Sport content moving forward in the next couple of months. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.